Vision beyond the narrative. Vision beyond the narrative. What the fuck does that mean? Oh, I can't see the F word. It's the first 30 seconds or whatever. I guess YouTube's just gonna not show my video to anyone. Anyway, we're here to gain better vision. Vision beyond the story. Now, I had a nice little paper work bubbling over. And let's see. I did not finish. I got occupied today. And I got tired. So, we got a lot to talk about eventually. But we're just going to shoot from the hip on this one. This one's a weekly show, right? We talk about current events, politics, stuff like that. Initially, I started out by producing an essay for each show. I think I might have skipped one, but I had a collection of 5 essays. And this was number 6. Yeah, it looks interesting. Modern political life is governed less by open force than managed perception. That's what we learned in the first episode. Sorry, I literally just woke up from a nap, which probably should have been me going to bed, but whatever. Okay, here's politics wrapped up in 30 seconds. So, Israel blackmailed the United States to go to war with Iran by Jeffrey Epstein, by means of Jeffrey Epstein. And when Trump didn't want to, they killed Charlie Kirk. And they're like, be a shame if that happened to your kid, wouldn't it? Trump was like, guess we're going. Don't kill my kids. And now Israel's licking their blood off their claws day in and day out. Blowing shit up. The craziest thing is that the narrative spin that comes from, it's like, at first you thought there was only 2 sides, right? Now there's like 10 sides, and everybody's coming up with their own little justification, or wait, I'm against the war. I'm, at first it would be like, well, if it's Trump, I'm against it. That's literally the base narrative. Trump equals bad. Everything Trump does equals bad. Everything Trump does equals super bad. Basic narrative. We are trying to gain a vision beyond narrative, beyond what people tell you to believe. So just because Trump does it doesn't mean it's bad. Just because Biden does it doesn't mean it's bad. The thing would be bad in itself based on its own merits. That's how we judge reality, people. So the Trump derangement syndrome thing was like, yeah, I understand all these people are going to be against the war. But wait a second. I voted for them. Orange man bad. Because he said he didn't start any new wars. The first president of my lifetime that didn't start any new wars. And actually finished a few. Why are we starting a new war? So that was confusing. I will have to say, I don't know if I want to condemn. I guarantee you this. Had Trump not won, and instead, was it Kamala or Joe Biden? I think it was Kamala. They snuck her ass in the last second, didn't they? Had they won, this country would look entirely different. We would not be at war with Iran, but this country would basically be on the brink of collapse pretty clearly, and for multiple reasons, not the least of which was that immigration bullshit that they pulled. Now, here's a vision beyond the narrative. The narrative is either you think immigration is bad or immigration is good. No, the narrative is bullshit. Everything is nuanced, complicated, complex, whatever. Immigration, this country was built on immigrants. Yes, it was. And most of them were legal immigrants that came here through legal means and with the approval of the United States government and the idea that one would assimilate into the new culture. That's the thing about other countries around the world. Other so-called developed countries, they're not going to let people in. Well, Europe's fuck themselves over in this one. They're not going to let people in that aren't assimilating. Japan's probably the best example. I don't think they let anyone in. Outsiders, immigrants, nobody. And if they let you visit, you need to assimilate. You need to act like them. For some reason, the one side of the political spectrum thought in the United States, if we flood the country with random illegal immigrants from every corner of the earth, that's going to help the country. And that's bullshit. A matter of fact, I think it was like a 70% issue, even with Democrats. Like, okay, yeah, that went a little too far. Just letting 30 million motherfuckers walk into the country. Unvetted, undocumented, whatever. I don't see how people get all up in arms about that. There's so many countries you'd just be fucking killed if they don't even let you in. So like, well, Biden said they could come. Yeah, well, that was dumb. Also against the law that was established, in the law. So you let all these people in. I just think it's going to get real interesting. Every day I'm waiting for shit to pop off. And that's what makes politics and current events so exciting. I actually don't like it since the election. I fought hard thinking I'm saving the country for the election of 2024. And I believe we did, 100%. But we basically gave our dying country, United States of America, a country built on principles that don't exist anywhere else in the world, nor have they, nor will they. A country based on the best form of government ever concocted by man. That country is gone. It's on its dying last breath. And the election of Trump 2024 gave the country a couple more breaths. But we're dying. We're dying because of corruption. We're dying because the powerful that control things don't give a shit. There's so much wealth and money to be siphoned off the top. And the people there, they don't care what you call it. You call it Republican, Democrat, Trump, or Biden. They don't care. As long as they get to siphon their money off the top, their tax money, their NGO money, their grant money, it's all a big scam, and you're not a part of it. And neither are most people. It is a very few. But those very few run the show. And they don't just run it in the U.S. It's a worldwide thing. And the world doesn't need the U.S. These rich elites, they don't need the U.S. to survive. So they've been hell-bent on destroying the U.S. from multiple angles. It's not just the Soviet Union was hell-bent on destroying the U.S. post-World War II and the Cold War. China is hell-bent on destroying the U.S. The Islamic countries, the radical Islamic jihadists that want to blow up everything, well, they've tried. They've definitely tried. At this point, I don't really give a shit about the war. And my son could be fighting in it. But as I've told him since he was young, we're already dead. He was so gung-ho on going to the military. And at the time, I was like, no chance. The military has gone so soft and so fucking bullshit. I don't want you anywhere near that shit. But he wanted to go. And I'm not saying the military, the people in the military, I'm just saying the leadership of the military was in a bad spot at a certain time. But as a 5-year-old, 7-year-old, 9-year-old, 11-year-old, he loved the Army. He wanted to be an Army Ranger. And then one day he came to me and he said something about his mom. His mom fucking put this thing in his head and he said, what if I go and I die? Like the fear of death came upon him. Not for years did it ever consider in his mind. And that's when I told him, you're already dead. Now live like you are on borrowed time. You can't be afraid of death. Death is kind of an illusion. You've got to believe, number one, in something bigger than yourself. Otherwise, the death is tormenting. I guess halfway tormenting. You're like, oh no, I'm going to lose my little life. I'm never going to be able to buy that chalet in France. Yeah, the people that don't believe in anything bigger than themselves, what are they afraid of? Especially when you get older. But it's funny, you start to see old people, and I'm speaking from experience, as they approach their 70s and 80s and their friends start dying, and then they realize all the stuff I used to live for is gone. I don't have my health, I don't have my mobility, I don't have my wisdom, I don't have my wits, I don't have my strength, I don't have my income, I don't have my money, whatever. But there's a separation from what I've seen. The people that believe in something outside of themselves, greater than themselves, approach death with comfort. And those who don't, just the thought of it breaks them down. That's sad. Anyway, back to my son. So yeah, you're already dead. And if we live like that, like I'm not afraid of dying because why? I'm already dead. If I'm going to die, I've already died. Because if something's already happened, if something's going to happen, it's already happened. This isn't a philosophy show, is it? But it is the case. Let's just say there's a being that could predict the future. A being that knew what was to come. Wouldn't they already know what was going to happen? Or they're wrong, right? Now, many of you might be saying, well, nobody can know the future. Maybe you're right. But what if they could? And in knowing the future, they say, yeah, I've seen myself. What if, for instance, you took a glimpse of the future? Happens to me all the time. And you noticed that as you got, let's say, so say you see yourself in the future. You see your old person self sitting on a porch playing with the grandkids or great grandkids. You actually see a vision of the future. Then wouldn't you go on the next day living like you were going to make it to there and not worry about dying? And I'm not saying we all need to see ourselves in the future. I'm just saying you're going to die eventually. In my opinion, that time is already determined. I don't know. I can only say the same thing over and over again. So many times before it doesn't work. Basically, in my opinion, if it's going to happen, it's already happened. The only things that haven't happened are those that will not. Now, children, assuming I'm long dead and gone and you're watching this, or those related to my children or grandchildren, write that down as a quote. Put the quotes that I have together in a little book. At this point, it's a little book, but maybe it'll become a bigger book. Don't be afraid of dying because you're already dead. If it's going to happen, it's already happened. The only things that haven't happened are the things that are not going to happen. Is that what I said the first time? Rewind, figure out whichever one sounds better. So that's kind of the mentality you need for the military. I assume for my son. Now, previous to 9/11, previous to Iraq and Afghanistan, there was a long lull where the military just seemed like a interesting job side path that would pay for your college. So people didn't really go expecting to give up much sacrifice. But then people started dying, getting blown to pieces, and getting shell shock, as they call it, from World War One, also known now as PTSD, TBI, CTE, from war fighting. And it wasn't a joke anymore. So now when you go, especially if you're going to go as a ranger or a Marine, you got to know. Your job is to get into the shit. And when you do get into the shit, to handle your shit. If you're worried about dying, you ain't going to be able to handle your shit. So I tell my son, yes, I understand that you now have this awareness that you might die. But live now. So that if you die, you have a life to look back on. Now, do I want to see my son get blown apart at 20? No. No, I do not. But, like I said, it ain't up to me. Hopefully, this little war of attrition, see, here's my opinion. The Israelis are hell-bent on using this war as like an end times catalyst or stimulant. Excuse me while I suck down Grandpa's cough medicine. As I've said before, my brain needs jet fuel, and that is the fuel for my brain. Straight fructose glucose. Apparently I don't have enough of it right now because I forgot what I was saying. Oh yeah, the Israelis are ushering in the end times with their attacking the great monster to the north. Now, many people can read into this. What I think is funny is that they don't realize that about, 7 years ago, I don't know why I want to say 7, there was a period of 4 blood moons in a year span and 2 in a month, or blue moons or green moons or whatever moons. For those of you that don't know about end times madness, people that eschatology, I think, is the study of the end times. People get crazy about it. And they think they know. This is the end is near. The end is always near. Why? Because the end is the end, and it's already happened. It will happen, and it's not moving. So it's getting nearer and nearer. So in that sense, it's true. But live like it isn't. Just live. Fear not. Just live. But be vigilant. Because life can get exciting. And let's just say you're some clueless dumbass that's driving around in their car, and all of a sudden your city's getting attacked by a sleeper cell of Iranian militiamen in the United States, and they start carjacking everyone and cutting throats in the street and dropping bodies on the road and blowing shit up. And you're just driving by, and they get out in front of your truck and they say, stop. And you stop, and then they put a gun to your head and they're like, get out of the car. And they pull out a big fucking knife like that and they cut your throat because you're a pussy. That's why I say be vigilant, because that shit happens. And it may not happen here yet, but it could. I don't want to say I long for the day, but I'm always looking. I'm always looking. So be vigilant, but don't let the end times madness destroy your life. What was I talking about end time madness for? Oh yeah, the 4 heifers. I mean, not heifers. That's the new one. The 4 blood moons 7 years ago. So everyone thought the world was, not everyone, but all these end times cuckoos thought the world was going to end because of the amount of blood moons, and it's X amount of years since the founding of Israel, and Israel from 1948 to 79 BC AD, when the temple fell, was exactly this many years, and all that stuff. Now, I'm not saying that none of that's true. I'm just saying don't get caught up in it. How do you waste your time getting caught up in it? Because what can you learn from it? Even Jesus said, he's like, guys, you're following me, and you need to know that no one knows the time or the hour. Not even the Son. Not even me. I don't know. Because it's kind of based on whatever we see. Well, that would destroy my theory of everything that's happened will happen. Everything that will happen has already happened. If God doesn't know when it's going to happen. But then how could it be God? Are we sure we're not stuck in the other show? How to click off on my essay there. See if anybody was watching, if there's any comments. I don't see any, that's fine. Get back to watering your plants, please. Or whatever it is you're doing. I'm going to go back to my essay here. I want to talk a little bit more about this end times madness before I sign off around 30 minutes. So, as I said, 7 years ago, these people that are into the end times were up in arms about it's definitely the end because these 4 moons are happening, and then these 2 moons are happening in the same month. And I mean, it was an uproar. And I remember driving, as I did a lot back then. I was a traveling salesman, so to speak. Traveling to and fro, putting many, many miles on my old truck. I was such at peace then, too. Immediately post-divorce, the biggest relief of my life. Imagine a splinter like that big and pointy and fat being sucked out of your side. Imagine the relief that brings. That's the state of mind I was in. Things were good. Life was good. And I was like, why is everyone saying it's going to end? Like, I think we could really do a good job on this earth. I know we're doing a shitty job. We're doing a really bad job. But in some senses, we're getting better as humans. And if we all get our collective shit together and we learn how to... At that time, I was consulting and working with farmers and working with soil and working with soil balancing, mineral balancing, and the idea that the soil, when it's regenerated, is the most powerful organism on the planet. Right? Everything comes from the soil and everything returns to the soil. Oh, springtime's here. The freaking flies are out. Did you see that? Whoa. That probably happened right inside the frame, didn't it? Tell your friends. We don't fuck around here. All right. Yeah, absolutely forgot where I was. The general idea is that I asked God at that moment for 500 more years. I was like, I mean, 100 years might not be enough. But if you can let me establish a couple of generations of reasonable people, my kids, and their kids, because I feel like I'm going to live to 150, 120, actually. I think we're kind of capped at 120. But with the advancements in medicine, advancements in understanding of the soil itself at that time, and the immense potential of greater future understanding of the soil, led me to believe that how are we not going to fix the soil? And in doing so, fix everything. It was just so obvious to me. You know, at any given time, 10%, I think 11% of U.S. farmland lays fallow, as they say, meaning that it's not being used to produce any produce. If we regenerate 10% of our farmland, that will sequester additional carbon from the air to a tune of like 5x of what we use. You following me? You picking up what I'm putting down? If you fix the soil is the most powerful regenerative or carbon sequestering organism. And you might say, well, what about the plants? Yeah, the plants are in the soil. The plants are part of the soil. So from trees to weeds to foliage, plants' jobs are to suck carbon out of the air and build literal wood houses out of it. Cellulose and woody material, right? And the earth has an unbelievable ability to do that. And it wouldn't take much. So if we can get that fixed, then we can start growing better food. I think enough people are starting to realize maybe. I don't know, the forces that we're fighting against seem a little insurmountable at times. The biggest one is retardedness, idiocy, midwittery. It's like the people that are midwits that have gotten themselves into money and success through corruption, through family, through whatever. They're the ones that think they know shit, and they don't. And they're the ones that are driving this, because they're always going to make decisions based on sustaining their wealth and power, sustaining the system that gathers the wealth and power for them, and sustaining anything else that their friends and family and that echelon of people need to stay in the place they're in. Now, people down here don't want things to stay the way they are because life isn't good. I don't have enough money. I don't have enough security. I don't have enough joy in my job. I don't have enough whatever. So you're always fighting for something. You're striving for something. You're working hard for something, right? You're moving forward. Dude, I torched the shit out of my arm today, and I've just realized why. I've been welding. Ooh, I should show you a video. I pretend like there's all these people out there that give a shit. But maybe they will be someday. Oh, it's so hard to find. Oh, I sent it to my son because it was for him, so let's see it. Oh, wait, I probably can't show that, can I? God dang it. Can't show that. It shows my truck. I'm in the garage welding all day, building these little So I decided to help coach track and field this year. I don't know if I've spoken about it on this show before, but we're in the beginning to middle of the season, and I'm a former high jumper, and so I am teaching the high jumpers how to high jump. And believe it or not, we actually have two. High jumping's weird because you're always in any number of people will produce X amount of high jumpers that make, and the heights never change, right? Nothing changes in the high jump since the Fosbury flop. Nothing has changed in terms of humans' ability to jump, especially in the last 30, 40 years. Because the world record was set in the 90s, in 92, I think, 94. The world record is 8 feet and 1/4 inch, 2 meters 45. But you have a certain, it's literal absolute Pareto distribution. Or no, it's not Pareto. Is it Pareto? I don't think it is, but it's a regular bell curve of distribution. Like if you took all the population of the world, how many people high jump? It's going to be a fraction of that, right? Because not that many people do. And then you spread that out, and you're like, all the people that jump, cut them into men and women and put them into two lines. Because believe it or not, folks, men and women are different. If you don't know, high jump. Let's just say I would be an Olympic level female high jumper, and I'm below average high school jumper. Boys. Olympic level women's. So there's your difference right there. It's not about feeling bad or your mental illness or wanting to pretend like you're something you're not. It's your physicality and your ability to jump over a fucking bar. So we're going to separate the women because I actually coached a girl back when I was younger that ended up winning state. Taught her how to high jump, basically, as I was high jumping, and also won state. The older I get, the better I was. I do realize that I was looking back on the state champions, and I was like, how did I not win the year before? Because the mark was even lower. I still haven't figured that out. Anyway, the point here is that there's a tiny percentage of people. So if I go to a high school meet like I'm going to tomorrow, there's going to be 30 guys in there. We'll say 35 entrants from 10 schools, 3 guys each, more or less. Some guys only have 1 or 2 or some schools. So you got like 35 guys. That distribution of their actual heights jumping all around the U.S., plus or minus a little bit here and there, I would say, for regional superiority. It all looks the exact same. Like there's so many people that don't make opening height. There's so many people that end up at 5'4", and then 5'6", and then 5'8", and then 5'10", and then 6 foot, and then 6'2", and then 6'4", and then 6'6". Each number dwindles perfectly. Dun, 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 dun. So there's only 1% can jump this high. 0.1% can jump that high. And every year you see the same thing. There's just one guy in the state. So the state's a bigger sample size. But if you take all states, you're always going to have 1 or 2 or 3 jumpers that are 7-foot high school jumpers. And those are rare 7-footers. I myself am not one of them. Although when you look at the state championship name above mine in the other class, in a different class, he is the all-time leading state high jump record holder for New Mexico. And I think it's 7'2.5", if not 7'4.5". I know he jumped both at different states, but he won state 4 years in a row. Freshman. The only year he didn't jump 7 feet was his freshman year at 6'10". And that shit blows my mind. Like, it literally gets me crazy to think. And then you take the world high jumpers, the top 50 are all in that 2 meters, 225 and above, 230, which I don't even know what that is anymore. Basically like 7'2" to 7'10", 7'4" to 7'8". And each range, each little notch up, it's the same all around the world, and it's the same yesterday as it will be. And we're all attacking that same bar in the same way. And humans will not jump higher. Will they break the record? I believe somebody will break the record through even all the advancements in nutrition, sports science, physio science, computers, training, videos. Videos are huge. All of that. And people still jump the same. It's wild. There's been absolutely no registerable improvements in the last 40 or 50 years. So all that to be saying what exactly? Where was I going with that? Oh, my arm hurt, so I realized I torched it by welding. And then I was going to tell you why I was welding, because I'm coaching, and I'm coaching because I used to jump, and so on and so forth. But the main part of coaching is getting the right equipment together for high jump. Pole vault is a 10x problem. Pole vault is 10x problem. Because those poles are $1,000. Then you got your standards are probably like 15. No. The pits and standards you can maybe get for 20. And pole vault, 20,000. Anyway, and no school has any budget to buy anything. So I show up and I'm like, all right, what do you have? We got a couple of ragtag random mats here and there. We got a couple of good standards though, which they are. And so they had a decent amount to work with. But what I've been working on is getting the right mats and equipment, shoes for the jumpers, and some training devices. The training devices that are out there, this is basically my therapy session. I just realized that. And you are my therapist. And if anybody's ever been to a therapist, they know that half the time those motherfuckers don't give a rat's ass what you say. They will sit there and pretend like they have mastered the art. Trust me, I used to be married to a psychotherapist. They are masters at sitting there, pretending like they're taking notes and concerning, knowing what to respond with every now and then to keep you going, and not fucking actually paying any attention to you at all. Masters of that. So you're allowed to sit there and say, I don't really have anything to talk about. I mean, it's been kind of hard getting along with my daughter and my son lately, and my wife's been nagging the shit out of me. And then, you know what she did the other day? She was blah, 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 blah. And you ramble on, you get a bunch of it out, and then she's like, that's interesting. How did it make you feel? Then you go on and on and on, and you're like, oh, okay. And how did that make you feel? And then pretty soon your hour's up, they get $100, you're on your way. Do you feel better? Maybe. But I don't have to do that because I have you, the camera. So that's what we're going to do. And I forgot what I was talking about. Because we passed our limit of time. We're at 45 minutes. Oh my goodness. I got to go to bed. Anyway, I'm building these jump aid devices. Jump boxes, they're called, actually. Matter of fact, since you guys are just my therapist, I'm going to waste my own time that I'm paying basically $100 an hour for. Not going to lie. Look back at all my live streams, divide them by the number of hours and the number of monies that I put into it with that camera and that monitor and that light and this computer and that hard drive and this thing and that thing and all these things. Divide that and we're at least $100 an hour. And I'm paying for it, so I get to say whatever I want. Let's go back to sharing the tab. And you can go on a jaunt on this journey with me. The most frustrating thing in the world. Google. Where'd you go? There you are. Okay. Oh, what, that one's only $1,055? So you see this right here. Conversion board, that's cool. Why is the long jump shit only $400? So you got this flat jump platform. I just made one similar. I literally welded one today. They want $872 for this. And that looks like 2-inch square aluminum. It's not even welded. I mean, I'm sure it's spot welded somewhere. 1.5-inch square aluminum, 1.5 by 3-inch. And how tall would it be? Dimensions is 5 inches tall, 34 inches long, and 19 inches wide. Okay. $872. So I basically built... Oh, you don't see this. Shoot. There you go. I built one of these. I'm going to build one at 6 inches. And then one... What is that? Runway section for $2,000. Anyway, I built this curved box too. I should have just used 1 inch, shouldn't I have? They want $1,600 for this thing. Well, $1,300 now, but look at that. I saw that and I was like, I can build that. They have the same. So I was going to put 2 layers of 1/4-inch plywood and then this jumping mat. Mine's way better. How tall is that? 8 inches high in the middle by 30 wide and 47 long. That's exactly what mine is. Mine's actually 50 inches long because longer is better. 30 inches wide. I did cut it to 30. I didn't even see this. And I think mine is 8 inches high. It's going to be like 8.5 inches high in the middle. And I'll have to figure out what I have into it, but it's a couple $100, maybe. The mat was 30. The one mat was 35. And the steel was probably 100 or a little bit less. And then paint and time. Well, I figured out my new business. I'm going to just start building jump boxes and selling them for $1,000 instead of $1,300. When I got $200 into it, maybe $300. No, I don't have $300 into it. That doesn't even look like aluminum, is it? Convex. Concave, convex, jumping box made of lightweight steel that's easy to carry to and from practice. Yeah, mine is not. covered in synthetic track material to simulate the same feeling as your track and runway. So that one is steel. I know the other one has got to be aluminum. This has to be aluminum. Yeah, there it is. It says it right there. Well, stop doing your dumbass pop-ups. Made of lightweight aluminum and covered with synthetic track material. So my synthetic track material is horse stall mat that comes in a 3x4 sheet. I cut one of them in half and use it for the two. Oh, I built a slant box too. A box that slants. And that's pretty fun. Track spikes can be installed underneath. Well, I don't have that, but I don't need that. It doesn't say its weight. No, they don't have its weight. So that's aluminum, and we decided it was what size? 5" by 34 by 19. I know mine is 19 wide because I just cut those 2x4s. How is that only 5 inches? 1, 2, 3. 1.5, 3 is 4.5. Okay, so that is 1.5 square. And then this rectangular one is 1.5 by 3.5 or 3. Actually, I don't remember seeing that. Maybe there is 1.5 by 3" rectangular tubing. I need to learn how to weld aluminum. That would be cool. But why do you need aluminum? You want them to be heavy. You don't want them moving. I can understand if you have aluminum and you put spikes in the bottom. Anyway, so that's me building boxes, donating my time, energy, and money. What the hell was that noise? Huh. Computer made a noise I am not familiar with. All right, we're going to wrap this thing up because we've gone on a tangent. But we did figure out the current events, right? The only reason we're at war is because Israel blackmailed Trump. Not because Trump did anything crazy. And it's not even just Trump. It's like we're blackmailing the entire United States. Oh, by the way, we're going to attack them whether you want to or not. So you might as well jump on board. If you do jump on board, it'll be quick. It'll be easy. We'll be done in no time. They'll give up quickly because look at how badass you were with Venezuela. All lies, all lies, all lies, all lies. But the problem is, in my estimation, Trump was like, no, we don't need to fucking go to war with Iran. I just blew up their nuclear shit, and I didn't even want to do that. You forced me into that shit, too. Like, we don't need to spend millions of dollars per second blowing shit up. I think Trump really is driven by the money more than anything. Like, I can't comprehend the fucking money that is wasted in war. But that's half the reason it's probably more than half the reason that it's done is that money got to go somewhere, right? It doesn't just go up in smoke. No, you give all that money to a company that builds you a little piece of machinery that flies through the air and smashes somebody's head. Whether it's a bullet or a tomahawk missile or an intercontinental ballistic IBCM missile. ICBM. Yeah. Billions and billions of dollars. And the only person that was going to keep the U.S. from going to war was Charlie Kirk. And guess who took care of him? Oh, that's why they shut me down. You can always think about the excuses and reasons why your videos don't do well. I'm shadow banned. I talked about Trump. I talk about Israel. Apparently Israel's pretty weighty nowadays on social media. They have a lot of pull and influence because people that are speaking out against them are getting shut the fuck up. Shut down. But I'm saying, hey, it's not anything to be ashamed of, Israel. I'm pretty pissed that you killed Charlie Kirk. No, not going to lie. But, oh, that is Mike. Mike, do you still hear me? Check, check. Tell me I just broke the mic. Mute. Where's the settings? Check. Check. Good, I didn't break it. Anyway, next week I'm going to have this paper dialed in. We're going to be going somewhere throughout the year. The NBA is going to wrap up here in the next couple of months, depending on how long the Nuggets are in. So every Nuggets night, we'll be doing a little Nugget show, which we have one on tap for, not tomorrow. Is it tomorrow? No, it was last night. So in the 3 nights, it's Saturday evening, afternoon, actually. Fucking afternoon games. So Saturday afternoon at 4 p.m. Should we do something? Should we skip Easter Sunday? Maybe we should do that. So that means that tomorrow is going to be a grow show. If I'm not mistaken. I wonder if I have it up already. So if you're interested in talking about anything at all, come here every night. But specifically tomorrow, yeah, I have to go back to the dashboard to see. Which I don't think I can do that. Now we've gone an hour. If you made it this far, oh, I just thought of something terrible. I was like, if you made it this far, leave the comment, the Jews killed Charlie in the comments. And I'll know who the true fans are. Yeah, I was pretty sad about Charlie Kirk, not gonna lie. But it is an interesting time. And maybe it is the end times, who knows? But live like it isn't. And just remember, you're already dead.